He handed out flyers with her photo on them. He hugged her mother on camera. He walked the search grid for 3 days, all while her body was buried 200 yards from his back porch. Why do some killers insert themselves into the investigation? It's not guilt. It's control. They want to know what you know, and they want to make sure you look everywhere except where they hid her. Her name was Alicia Park, 24, nursing student. Last seen walking home from a late shift at the grocery store, 11:17 p.m. on a Thursday. She lived 3 houses down from a man named Michael Dwyer, 38, single. Worked at the auto parts warehouse. Kept to himself. When Alicia didn't show up for work the next day, her roommate called police. By Saturday morning, the community organized a volunteer search. 50 people showed up at the fire station. Michael was one of the first to sign in. He didn't just walk. He led. He took a stack of flyers, put them on windshields at the mall. He was interviewed by the local news that evening, standing next to Alicia's mother, his arm around her shoulder. "We're all praying," he said to the camera. "We just want her home safe." Investigators now call this injecting behavior or offender insertion. It's textbook. Killers who volunteer, who attend vigils, who join searches, do it for 2 reasons: to monitor the investigation and to feel the power of deceiving everyone in plain sight. Michael walked the grid for 3 days. He was given a map with sectors. Twice, he was assigned to the wooded area behind his own property, the area that bordered the creek. Twice, he radioed in that his team had cleared the sector and suggested they move volunteers to the north field instead. The teams listened. He was confident, helpful, knew the terrain. On day 2, a cadaver dog team was brought in. The dog, a veteran named Bosco, alerted hard at the edge of Michael's property line, near a brush pile. The handler logged it. The search coordinator, not wanting to accuse a volunteer without cause, and citing that the alert was too close to a residence without probable cause, marked it as inconclusive and moved the dog to another sector. That decision would cost them 6 months. Alicia wasn't found during the volunteer search. The case went cold. 14 months later, the state lab reran old evidence through new testing. A single blue polyester fiber found on Alicia's jacket, originally deemed too common to be useful, was reanalyzed with improved microscopy and DNA extraction from skin cells trapped in the fiber. It matched fibers from the driver's seat of Michael's truck, which had been impounded for an unrelated DUI and was still in the lot. They brought him in for a follow-up interview. He walked in smiling. Offered to help however he could. Before they asked a question, he suggested 3 other names. "Have you looked at her ex? That guy from the bar? The maintenance guy at the store?" Classic deflection. They swabbed his cheek. They also executed a search warrant for his house. In his garage, under a tarp, they found a shovel with soil that matched the creek bed. Behind his shed, 200 yards from where the dog had alerted, they found disturbed earth. Alicia's remains were there, buried shallow, wrapped in a tarp. When confronted with the DNA, he didn't confess immediately. He asked for a lawyer. Then, after 40 minutes alone, he changed his mind and gave a full statement. He said he'd offered Alicia a ride home because it was raining. She said no. He followed her. He panicked. He'd lived next to the search command post for 2 weeks, watching them look everywhere, but his backyard. A court-ordered psychological evaluation scored him in the 98th percentile for psychopathy on the PCLR, the standardized tool used to assess psychopathic traits. Lack of remorse, pathological lying, manipulative behavior. The report noted his television interviews showed a calculated emotional performance designed to elicit sympathy and deflect suspicion. Detectives later pulled his history. 2 prior neighbors had filed noise and harassment complaints against him in the 3 years before Alicia's murder. Both reports noted he would stare at women from his porch, follow them to their cars. Both cases were closed without follow-up because the complainants moved away. At trial, the prosecution played his news interview side by side with his confession. Same man, same voice, two completely different stories. The jury took 90 minutes. First-degree murder. After sentencing, the lead detective held a press conference. He said publicly, his injecting behavior, his volunteering, his redirecting search teams, slowed this investigation by nearly 6 months. If we'd trusted that dog on day 2, Alicia's family would have had answers in a week, not 14 months. Michael Dwyer is now serving life without parole. He still maintains a page on a prison pen pal site where he describes himself as wrongfully convicted. This pattern repeats. Chris Watts gave multiple TV interviews pleading for his pregnant wife and daughters to come home, while he knew exactly where their bodies were. Scott Peterson did the same. In fact, entire lists exist of convicted murderers who gave TV interviews before being arrested, using the media as camouflage. Offenders insert themselves because it works, at least for a while. They learn what police know. They steer attention. They gain trust. And they get to watch the pain they caused, up close. So let me ask you, if a tragedy happened in your neighborhood, would you look closely at the person leading the search, or would you trust them completely? Next time you see a grieving neighbor on the evening news, watch their eyes, not their tears. If you want to uncover more dark truths and hidden histories, subscribe to FrameTale HQ, hit the notification bell, and leave your thoughts on this story in the comments below. Until next time, keep searching for the truth.